All right, so before we get into this example, you'll notice that this is in the textbook and it's worked out there, but I'm going to explain things in detail, and you may get more from this video that rather than just a printed out solution. So first off, you'll notice that there's some properties on the previous page than from where you see example 1, which is on page 76, beginning of section 1.1. There's a couple of properties that says the addition and subtraction property of equality and the multiplication and division property of equality. So now you'll notice that there's a general process and order that you go in when you're solving a linear equation in one variable. And we'll see this in example 1. So when we solve this equation, we're interested in, as mentioned above, addition and subtraction property of equality on that page, that we're trying to get the variable equal to a constant. So that's our end goal, like x is equal to 4. Variable x equal to a number, a constant. Constant is a number, like 4. We'll be done solving this linear equation once we get to that end result. So the order, you want to deal with the addition and subtraction property of equality first. So we want to ideally get the variable on the left side of the equation and get the constant values on the right side of the equation, because we want the variable equal to the constant. So we want to use the subtraction property. Let's do that first. And they may go in a slightly different order in the textbook. I'm not looking at that right now in working this out, but they're doing the same general process. So let's deal with the constant value first. So we want to get the constant value to the right side of the equation. So we're going to add 5 on both sides of the equation. So notice that the addition and subtraction property of equality, which is what we're using right now, says that whatever you do on one side of the equation, and I like writing a vertical line to show we're doing the same thing on both sides of the equation. So the vertical line is through the equal. And notice that we add 5 to one side, so we must add 5 to the other side. Same thing with subtraction. So, but notice when we add 5, we cancel out the negative 5 that was on the left side, because we want the constant on the right side. So we're left with 3x, because that's what remains, is equal to 7x, and now we need to combine 5 and negative 11. So negative 11 plus 5 is negative 6. Okay, so we're done with dealing with that. Now the constant is now just on the right side, but we need to get the variable on the left side of the equation. So we need to get that 7x off the right side of the equation. So to do that, we must subtract 7x, because there's a positive 7x on the right side. So now we're using the subtraction part of the property of equality. And since we subtract 7x on the right side, we subtract 7x on the left side. So we keep that balance, similar to the plus 5, and I'll circle that here. Similar to plus 5 here, and we're going to do the similar thing with the negative 7x. And we end up with the result. So we cancel out negative 7x, positive 7x. And we get 3x minus 7x is negative 4x, since 3 minus 7 is negative 4, is equal to, and now we still have this constant of negative 6 over here on the right side of the equation. So now we've dealt with the addition and subtraction property of equality. As mentioned before, we deal with that property first. Then we deal with the multiplication and division property of equality. And that's when you have all your variable on the left side and your constant on the right side. And so I'm going to extend this vertical line down. You don't need this vertical line, but I like to keep track of things with the vertical line. And now we want to divide -4, because ideally I want x left on, because we want a variable equal to a constant. So we need to get rid of that -4, which we do by dividing by -4. But we have to do that on both sides of the equation. That's the multiplication division property of equality. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other. And that cancels with -4, what we call the coefficient. And we're left with x is equal to -6 divided by -4 is 3. It reduces to 3/2. So we get x equals 3/2. All right, so I broke this down and took it slowly through this problem, but hopefully you see what we've done here. Now, in the next example, example 2, we'll be working through an example that has an extra step in the beginning. And but you'll notice that we'll be finishing off the problem very similarly to this video, example 1 problem. And so go ahead and take a look at that next example too. Let me know if you have any concerns. I'll be more than happy to help.